Following the events at Darlington Raceway, many NASCAR officials are speaking out against Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain, according to Jeff Burton, crossed the line at Darlington, while Rick Hendrick is furious and has made some harsh words. So, fans, just watch today's video to find out what's going on in the NASCAR air this time. But before that, please subscribe to our channel and hit that like button for more whereabouts on NASCAR. One could say that Ross Chastain has crossed the line more than once during his NASCAR Cup Series career. Jeff Burton, who has won 21 races in the Cup Series, thinks Chastain went too far on Sunday's Goodyear 400 at Darlington Raceway. Chastain was leading the race going into the second-to-last restart, and he pushed Kyle Larson into the wall in Turn 1 as he tried to get his first win of the 2023 season. The fight took them both out of the race, and William Byron won his third race of the season. Burton said as much on NASCAR America Motormouth on Monday. Is Chastain really mean there? Did he go too far? Yes, he did go too far. On his restart, however, Larson was also very active. He got on Chastain's bad side. So it was a race between two cars, and the last two restarts saw two wrecks. Chastain's moves on the track came a week after he and Noah Gragson got into a fight on pit road after the Advent Health 400 at Kansas Speedway. Even though the 8th-generation watermelon farmer is one of the best drivers in the Cup Series, his antics are starting to get old for his other rivals. Chastain, who had the most points, talked to Larson about what happened after he got out of the infield care center. Chastain said, "Full commitment into Turn 1, and I got really tight, so I drove up and turned myself. I wanted to push him up and squeeze him. We've been going back and forth all day, and I really wanted to push him up, but didn't want to run into the wall." Justin Marks, who's a co-owner of Trackhouse Racing, says that they are aggressively handling the Ross Chastain issue. Because Chastain kept getting into trouble on the racetrack, Trackhouse Racing co-owner Justin Marks said out loud that he has some things to clean up. Marks said on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio on Monday, "The important thing to say here is that we think Ross has the ability. That's clear. He's very fast. But he needs to clean up some things. I'm just going to tell you the truth." And today we started a process with our partners, Ross and the rest of our team, to deal with this in a more active way. We're not exactly mad at him, but we want to take advantage of this chance. After the race, not only did Mark give his statements, but Rick Hendrick's owner also came forward. Rick Hendrick thinks Ross Chastain is a good race car driver, but the NASCAR Hall of Fame team owner hasn't been impressed with his recent acts on the track. Hendrick, the most successful team owner in the history of the Cup Series, had to watch as one of his other drivers, Kyle Larson, was taken out of the running for the win when he and Chastain crashed with 6 laps left in the normal. Hendrick said of Chastain, "I think you could ask any driver here who has crashed into him or been in an accident with him. He doesn't have to be that aggressive. At this point in the race, I guess you could be really bold, but don't run people into the fence. He's going to make a lot of enemies, and if you have a lot of paybacks, it's hard to win a title. He has so much ability. I think he could win the race if he just calmed down." Dale Earnhardt Sr. once told me, and I won't name the driver who worked for me, but he said, "He's got all the talent, but he doesn't know how to race. He knows when to race and when to push himself. Chastain has a lot of skills, but he's making a lot of friends out here. Kyle, this one, Dover, and Talladega are up next. These guys are getting really old." Cliff Daniels, who was Larson's crew chief, was angry for a while after the crash. Daniels mentioned 3 races where Chastain had taken us out. At Darlington, Chastain made direct touch with Larson, while accidents involving Chastain at Talladega Superspeedway, where he crashed into Noah Gragson, and Dover Motor Speedway, where he crashed into Brennan Poole, collected Larson. Hendrick said, "I don't care if he's driving a Chevy as long as he wrecks our cars. I told Chevrolet that I didn't care. If you hurt us, you'll have to pay for it. And if you don't, they'll walk all over you. I like Chevrolet, but if someone runs us over, I want my guys to stand their ground. I won't tell them to move over because it's a Chevrolet." What are your thoughts on the statements being made about Ross Chastain? Tell us in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click that bell button for more updates. Since 1984, Hendrick's drivers have won almost 300 Cup Series races, and he doesn't know if Chevrolet can cool it down, but that's not how they work. NASCAR has been involved in driver fights before, but Hendrick admitted that more than one driver is upset with Chastain. Larson turned down a radio interview on pit road and didn't talk to the reporters before leaving the racetrack. Ironically, Larson said on Saturday that he's not a fighter and has never gotten into fights with other drivers. Hendrick said, "I think Justin Marks, the boss of the Trackhouse Racing teams, would talk to him." Hendrick was talking about who needs to get involved. Again, it's hard to win a title that way if a lot of people want to pay you back. He has enough skill to do that, but we don't want to get knocked out. If you look at the points Larson has lost because of incidents with Chastain in the race here today, I think he was all over Larson at some point. That's up to the drivers to figure out. Now let's take a look more at Sunday's Darlington race. William Byron won the Goodyear 400 at Darlington after surviving a series of late race restarts in which other contenders took each other out. Byron's victory is the 7th of his career and his 3rd of the 2023 season, setting a new career high for wins in a season for the Charlotte, North Carolina driver. When the caution flag flew with 18 laps remaining, Byron took advantage of 2 major incidents in Turn 1 and 2, caused by other cars in the lead colliding with the outside wall. Martin Truex Jr. caused a major crash by forcing Joey Logano into the wall, and the following restart saw Byron sneak through while Ross Chastain and Kyle Larson were killed in a similar tragedy. Since it was victory number 100 for the Hendrick Motorsports number 24, made famous by Hall of Famer Jeff Burton, Byron's victory added greatly to the heritage of the car he drives. To commemorate NASCAR's 50th anniversary, Byron, who has driven the number 24 since 2018, sported a paint scheme similar to Gordon's in the 1998 Winston at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Many of the other leaders' races crumbled over a pair of restarts, allowing Byron to win. When Ryan Newman spun with 18 laps remaining, it was obvious that Darlington's notoriously difficult-to-run, side-by-side through with enough width for effective bends would imprison all the day's top cars. Martin Truex Jr. would be the first to crash as he ran up the track and collided with Joey Logano, driving Logano into the wall and spinning Truex in front of traffic, resulting in a multi-car disaster. Finally, with his 7th career Cup victory, William Byron joins 7 other drivers who have 7. Byron joins Hendrick Motorsports' Ron Blaney and Alex Bowman, as well as Darrell Derringer, AJ Foyt, James McMurray, Jim Reed, and Marshall Teague. The fact the numerous vehicles involved in an incident with 13 circuits to go were allowed to finish made Sunday's race even more contentious. Truex, Logano, and other drivers were among those involved in the incident. Kevin Harvick, Chase Elliott, and Brad Keselowski were able to hold onto their track positions long enough to finish 2nd, 3rd, and 4th respectively, despite damage to all 3 of their vehicles. Bubba Wallace led the opening lap and remained in the top 5 throughout the first stage, but a slow pit stop put him out of the top 10. Wallace would finally restore his track position through a series of late restarts and finish 5th, his 2nd top 5 in a row and 3rd of 2023, the most top 5s Wallace has ever had in the first 13 races of a season. Everything that happened in the last 13 laps might have been avoided had Christopher Bell not been unlucky. Bell had been driving 2nd before the caution with 18 laps remaining, and he pulled off pit road 2nd. But he was called back because his crew felt they had not secured a wheel on his vehicle. Bell would finish 14th. Bell avoided the same fate as Eric Jones, who crashed during a mid-race restart due to an improperly placed right rear wheel. Jones spun out in front of traffic, triggering a pileup on the back straightaway, and NASCAR penalized him for 2 laps. Jones finished 25th, and his team is expected to be more focused this week. For the first time since 1996, NASCAR returns to the foothills of western North Carolina in Wilkes County for the All-Star race at the famed and now resurrected North Wilkesboro Speedway. The race will be broadcast on FS1 next Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's all we've got for today. We hope you enjoyed it. Tell us what you think of the video in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you in the upcoming video.